Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Giving double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the Akim, the brethren out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth on 100% sincerity. And peace and salutations to the few and sincere sisters who do believe in this gospel. So I want to entitle this lesson, We Know Who Esau Is Through Prophecy in Biblical History. And it's a video lesson I've always wanted to go into, and I've never actually went into it. So, I figured now's the time. With that being said, the Bible, the scriptures, give us all that we need in terms of the things that we need to know in order for salvation. And that also lets us know who our enemy is, and it points out who our enemy is in this time, right? Because, you got, vocab along with, his followers and other Christians who talk about that the Edomites have been done away with. But according to biblical prophecy, that's not really correct, right? And so that's what we do. We come through the scriptures to disprove these these talking points that these Christians and hell, even some of these other so-called religious groups try and use to discredit the Israelites and what we teach, because we know through scriptures, we know who Esau is, right? And Esau is the so-called white man, which, you can have Israelites who are so-called white, just like you can have Edomites who are so-called black. But, the point is that the majority of who we believe, of who the Edomites are, what we call so-called white people. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, I'm going to just kind of go into these scriptures I got listed here, right? So let's start off with Genesis 25 and verse 22. And it says, and the children struggled together within her, because, let me preface this. This is Rebecca, Isaac's wife, who she wanted to inquire. She was pregnant. She was pregnant with twins, and she wanted to inquire on why, on the situation of her children in the womb. They were struggling together, right? And she wanted to inquire about this, right? So verse 22, and it says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. The elder was Esau, right? The elder of the 2 children was Esau. And that's prophetic that Esau would serve the Israelites in the kingdom in captivity, right? And they've served the Israelites in, previous kingdoms under King David and King Solomon. And I believe so once again under the Byzantine Empire, the Byzantine Roman Empire, right? So verse 24, Salakia. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them, right? Now, Esau came out red. Now, just because it says a hairy garment doesn't mean that he came out hairy. You know what I'm saying? I believe when you go into the history, there were particular garments that, they dyed red, right? They dyed those garments red and for various different purposes back in those times. And it's just describing he was red like that, like like a hairy garment, right? A hairy garment that was dyed red, right? And when you look at so-called white people and their children, when they come out the womb, what do they come out? They come out red because their skin is not white necessarily, but it's more, I want to say translucent. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but their skin is clear enough to where you can see, whenever they get mad, upset, blush in the sun too long, you can see the blood rushing, you know what I'm saying, rushing through the skin. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it describes Esau as, right? And it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob, right? Now, Esau was a man of the field, a hunter, right? A cunning hunter, a man of the field, a man of outdoors and things like that, right? And you can see that on these Edomites today. What do these Edomites like doing? They like going out hunting for sport. They like being in the woods, you know what I'm saying? Being out in quote unquote the cabins and all that shit. And, what this devil does, man, this devil hunts animals for sport, not necessarily for food. Because Jacob, Israelites, we hunt too, right? But we hunt for food. We hunt for our needs, right? We don't just do it for fun. We don't just do it for sport. And, you know what I'm saying? To hang, the head of a wolf or a lion or a moose or something on our wall just to say, hey, I killed this animal and I put it on my wall. I put it on my mantle. We don't, as Israelites, that's not what we do. That's not how we move. That's not what we do. And, when it comes to what we need and things of that nature, we hunt and we do these things particularly for our necessities, right? Just the things that we need, not necessarily for game or for sport, right? So let's go over to the blessings that Isaac and Esau and Jacob received. Salakia. What's this? 33. So this is Genesis chapter 27, starting at verse 30. And it says, and it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting, right? Because Jacob and Rebekah came up with a plan, right? And this tell you that, Rebekah was probably most likely had the spirit of so-called black woman, right? But Jacob and Rebekah came up with a plan to kind of fool Isaac into thinking that Jacob was Esau, so that Jacob could receive the blessing that Esau was initially supposed to receive, but Jacob took the blessing, right? Which, all in all, that was the Lord's will anyway. It was the Lord's will for Jacob to receive that blessing. But the way that the story played out, Jacob, he kind of stole the blessing. You know what I'm saying, right? So, yeah, it says, Verse 31, and he also made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. Right? Talking about Jacob. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times, right? Because I believe the word or the name Jacob or Yaquab means supplanter, right? It says he took away my birthright, which he didn't take away Esau's birthright. Esau gave Jacob his birthright because Esau couldn't, he couldn't hold out on Eden. So he sold his birthright, right? And behold, continuing on, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not served the blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained thee. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, right? And when you look at, especially these top of the line Edomites, right? The elite, but even going down from, let's say, the quote unquote middle class Edomites, or, somewhat upper class Edomites, the upper class Edomites, right? What do you see? They live in the fatness of the earth, right? Even out here in St. Louis, it's an area we call West County, and within West County, you've got, these different super wealthy municipalities like Ladue, Frontenac. You can kind of say Clayton is one of them. Creve Coeur, Chesterfield, Baldwin. These places are fairly wealthy. Our municipalities where fairly wealthy Edomites live, mainly Edomites, right? Because, I remember doing Uber on the weekends, man. I used to pick up kids from out there and like take them to downtown St. Louis, and, they go out there and, go to the bars and all that shit, or I'll pick them up from downtown or Central West End or something like that out here, and, take them back home. And a lot of times, man, I'm picking them up from these, gated communities. It's almost like it's damn near in the woods, but it's like it's an entire subdivision. It's an entire neighborhood, full of these big fucking huge ass houses. You know what I'm saying? They got big driveways, 3, 4, 5 cars in the driveway. You know what I'm saying? The basketball hoops, pools in the backyard. The houses is, 5,000 square feet and up. And they living good, man. They living good. And it's in St. Louis, it's a lot of areas like that out there in West County, right? And but how much more even a lot of these other cities like Chicago, like New York, you know what I'm saying, in the state of Florida, right? Texas, Dallas, Houston. You know what I'm saying? When you look at these Edomites, when you look at these Edomites and how they live, they do have the fatness of the earth, man. They got, a lot of times, man, they got the best of the best. Now, you do have some of the people who are lower class, working class, and things like that, right? But you do have a huge number of Edomites, man, living great, man, right? Living great. Verse 40, and it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Now, how did the so-called white man obtain all of these things, or obtain the ability to gain all of these things? Through the sword, through bloodshed, Salakia, through rape, robbing, and murdering. That's how so-called white man, who is Esau, obtained this land, obtained this country, and, obtained the wealth, power, and control that he has going through the earth, pillaging, you know what I'm saying, taking over lands, taking over the countries and nations and the lands of other people, right, including the heathen, right? Verse 40, and it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke off thy neck, right? Because Esau, during the, I believe it was after King Solomon ruled, King David and King Solomon had Esau under subjection. But the Edomites, they broke out from that. And I believe you can read that in the book of, I want to say First Kings, right? But let's go here to this scripture. So look, this is Habakkuk chapter 2. Chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 4, and it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, Salakia, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Now, is this not what so-called white man does, who is Esau Edom? Is this not what they do? Go around the world, the entire earth, taking over lands, taking over different countries, taking over different lands and everything like that, right? So, who is this scripture describing? The scripture is obviously talking about Esau Edom, who's a so-called white man. This is what they do, right? This is what they've done throughout history, ever since the Renaissance, era. When they came into power for a short time, which this short time is extending to, is talking about this time as well. You can read that in Revelation. They've been going around the earth, man, taking over lands, right? That's how, for example, that's how Great Britain has so many different colonies outside of Great Britain. That's how Great Britain colonized Australia. You know what I'm saying? In Australia, man, you had, what they call Aboriginals. They had different, Aboriginal people that lived over there in Australia. And one group of people in particular called the Tasmanians, man, they've completely exterminated those people. You know what I'm saying? So, these Edomites, are going to lands like Australia and conquering them and taking them over, right? So, Salakia. So, it's clear to see, man, who this scripture is obviously talking about. Let's go here. So this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6. I'm starting verse 7. And it says, and this is Ezra's talking to an angel of the Lord. I think the angel Uriel, right? And it says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand first held the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So if Esau is the end of the world, then, who is the one that's in control? Esau is in control right now. Let me find something. Because the end time started when Yahweh came. So, I think which one I want to get. Let me get this one, right? Because this is talking about these times, man. Verse 20, I'm going to start at verse 24 and 11. It says, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved, right? So when is the end? The end is now. We're in the end times, right? We're in the end of this world. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? So this is talking about the end of what? The end of this current world, which is ruled by who? Esau. So if Esau is the end of the world, talking about Esau is going to rule in the end, well, who's in rulership now? Who can we obviously see who's in rulership, right? I feel like there's another one in Peter. Here. What was Second Peter? I think it was Second Peter, yeah. Yeah. This is Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. And it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth and the works that are therein shall be burned up, right? So this is an end time prophecy, right? Speaking on what's going to happen in the end of the world. So if we're in the end times now, because we understand that the end of the world started with Yahweh Shai, right? The Alpha and Omega, right? Yahweh Shai when Yahweh Shai came, marked the beginning of the end times, right? So if we're in the end times now, and we know we're close to the end, according to biblical prophecy, and Esau was prophesied to rule during these times, well, who is Esau when we look at who's in rulership? So-called white man, right? Let's go. Job 9 and verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he, right? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Esau, Edom. Who has the earth been given into Whose hand has the earth been given to? Esau, Edom, right? Who is the so-called white man, right? And what did he do? It says he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Who were the judges? The Israelites, right? Did not they whitewash biblical history, biblical images? Is that not what happened? It's 10:44. Call Hala Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Let me see. Because we're going to come back to Maccabees. I just read this the other day. Hold on, Salakia. Here it is, here, 348, Salakia. So, First Maccabees chapter 3, I'm going to start at 46. It says, wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Maspha over against Jerusalem. For in Maspha was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. It says, then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, right? So the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, meaning they tried to change their images to look like them. And what heathen specifically? The Edomites, right? This is talking about the Edomites. You Chinese, or the Moabites never looked to paint a Chinese Jesus and push that throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? That never happened before, right? Hold on one second.
Stay here.
Uh-huh.
You think I could use your blue key fob real quick to open the door?
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna pop the door open. I'm gonna leave the keys right back here.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Salakia. Bear with me one second.
Thank you. Lose yours like I did mine.
All right. Salakia about that. I'm sitting outside my apartment. So what was I saying? So, yeah, you haven't seen a Chinese, the Chinese or the Moabites or the Ammonites or the Ishmaelites paint a so-called Jesus that looks like them and push that throughout the world. They got their own gods and religions and things that they worship, right? The only people who have done that is the so-called white man. They've taken the images of the Bible and they've made them to look like themselves. When it's, you know what I'm saying, through scripture, we know that, Israelites and prominent biblical figures, prominent people who were in the Bible, didn't look like so-called white people. You know what I'm saying? They look like who? So-called black people, as well as the Hispanics and Native Americans, you know? So here we're gonna stay in Maccabees, right? Because so in the context of this the book of First Maccabees, what is it talking about? It's talking about the Greek Empire coming against Israel, right? So look, let's start here. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, or who they call Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Greek, right? The Macedonian, and you can actually go and look this history up. So this shows that, the scriptures do align with, world history. And you can look this thing, you can, look on YouTube and look up the wars between the Greeks and the Jews, right? And it says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedum, had smitten Darius the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, right? So Alexander the Greek was the first ruler over Greece, right? And after that, right, you have, after the death of Alexander, you had different rulers after that. But then Maccabees talks about specifically Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And it says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks, right? So this is talking about the kingdom of the Greeks. So let's go here to 1 Maccabees chapter 5. Right? Start at verse 1. And it says, now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Judas Maccabees, fought against the children of Esau in Idumea at Arabataim, because they besieged Israel, and he gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils, right? So Judas Maccabees was fighting against the children of Esau, right? And who and who is the children of Esau? It's talking about the Greeks, because the Greeks were the ones laying siege to Israel. So the Bible describes the Greeks as the children of Esau, as the Edomites, right? The children of Idumea. And we know the Greeks to be what? To be so-called white people. So that's biblical proof right there that the so-called white man is Esau, right? Let's go to verse 65, and I'm going to close out with this one. It says, afterward, when Judas forth with his brethren and fought against the children of Esau in the land toward the south, where he smote Hebron and the towns thereof, and pulled down the fortress of it, and burnt the towns thereof round about, right? So once again, it describes the Greeks as the children of Esau, the Edomites, right? This is not talking about Japheth or anybody else. This is talking about the Edomites. This is who it's describing the Greeks of, right? Because Japheth originally was inhabiting that land in Europe, in Greece, and Rome and all of that, right? But then I believe it's called the Punic Wars, where the Edomites went up to Europe and stole that land from them, right? Took the land from the Japhites, the Japhetic people, right? So, man, this is clear cut and dry from biblical prophecy and biblical history that Esau Edom is the so-called white man, right? So, Lord willing, man, this video lesson was edifying, giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. And until